Well, it's been a long time since I've managed to get out, so I thought I'd have a sort through my stuff. I've got a ton of stuff, outdoor gear, bits and pieces floating around on top of a shelf in the other room. So I've been sorting it out. This bag of stuff is not really required and will probably be given away or sold. Some of it will be sold. All of this stuff over here is going to be kept or modified in some way. There's a couple of other bits and pieces over here. But the first job is to modify the bottom of the Condor so that we can actually get the sleeping kit on there. And the sleeping kit looks so big because it's a sleeping bag with a British Army Gore-Tex bivvy wrapped around it. So it's twice the size of the sleeping bag. That sleeping bag actually will stuff into, I don't know, something tiny. I think it's like a wrap summit or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's lovely and warm, down to -15 or something like that. So in this time of year in England, you end up sweating a lot. But anyway, the first job is to modify this bag so that we can actually get the straps on the bottom. Because Maxpedition, for some reason, think that's a useful size. I don't know what that is. What, 5 inches? You can't really get anything in there. We struggle to get a rolled up German Army poncho in there, which I found out recently is actually Second World War, which is not bad. I paid about £5 for that at a boot fair. So let's get to it. Do I have to excuse the wobbliness? So the first job, I've got this roll of stuff here. First job, obviously, is to cut off a piece that we know is going to fit around the sleeping bag. So I've just basically just laid a piece of this around the sleeping bag and then grabbed an extra few inches. This is difficult. I just noticed my other tripod's broken, so I've got one of them horrible gorilla tripods now. But you just got to make sure that there's enough material to have a bit spare out the end of it. I don't really want to chop anything off of this bag if I can help it. These are rather firmly attached on, and then they loop through these loops. So I'm wondering if I should just thread that through there, then back down on itself to keep that one out of the way, and then attach this one on. It hasn't got its end defrayed yet. So we'll do that now. Defraying the ends of this stuff is the same as paracord. Just heat it up a bit. So anyway, I was wondering if maybe I should thread this through. Put this through like that, and then just stitch it into a loop there, so that I've got a loop on there then. I think that's probably the best way I can about it, because I'm not destroying the original bag then, which is what I'm aiming for. I've got an audience down here, look. What? Don't want to look at the camera. So I think, yeah, we'll do that. And we can do it twice, once for this side, once for that side. And that should be more than enough to get the strap on. Or to get the sleeping bag strapped on. I won't put you through the pain of watching me sew and stitch, but I'm not very good at sewing and stitching, so I'll switch it back on when I'm all done with sewing both of these loops. So there's one done, and I go, here's my needle one. I'll start on this side, I go across to there, back over here, down there, across to there, back over here again. That makes it nice and strong, because you definitely don't want this breaking. If it's hanging off your arse, when you're walking along, you might not even notice your sleeping bag falling off. You probably would because of the weight, but I don't know. So that's how I sew it. That's one done. I've got to do the other one now. There we go. 2 straps attached on. With no damage to the original bag. Now what we've got to do is thread them through here. It should be a simple case of up through the back, down through the front. And once they're on there, we can trim them down a bit. And we'll test it. There's another thing I want to do while I'm at it, while I'm modifying things, and that's get some of the foam out of this and try and make a slightly more. I mean, this is a sleep pad, but I never use a sleep pad because I don't normally sleep outside. To get some of the foam out of this and make a seat out of it, but a slightly smaller one that can go on the bottom of the bag. So I suppose we should do that first before we trim these down. Also want to try and make sure there's enough room to strap a poncho under there as well, because ponchos are so useful. So we'll get to cutting this thing open and extracting some of the foam. I don't know how well you guys can see, probably not very well. This stuff is tough, really tough. Either that, or my missus has completely ruined that blade pulling staples out of it, which is probably more realistic. So then, what we have in here is just a few bits of foam. So if we cut these down the middle and try and work out some way of attaching them together. I've been that one, look, down the middle's not enough for my fat arse. So we'll cut another one of these off. This could probably be made into bags and stuff like that quite easily. There's one. And there's 2. Look at that, would you believe it? Both of them cut in such a way. I've got to cut more to get the foam out of that. That one will come to pieces of work. And many of you have ever noticed it takes less time to destroy something than it does to put it back together. So I reckon I want that to be probably about this big. So I'll go and grab a tape measure and we'll see if we can cut it just right, so that if I take the waist from the top one and the waist from the bottom one and attach it to the top of this one, I can actually make it twice as high. So we have to get rid of some of these. I don't need this anymore. Tidy as you go, as they say. So we'll put that back away in its bag. I've got loads of sachets of chocolate laying around here that need to go in this small bag. Now let's have a measure. So I'll measure my arse to start with. My arse is approximately 10 inches wide. Dry white marker, so we'll say 10 inches for my bottom, 8 inches. So if I cut across there, I should end up with 2 pieces that are 5 long. So we'll mark 5 on there as well. Actually, I can make it a bit wider, can't I, if I've got 5 inches. If I've got 8 inches spare on there, if I make that 12, that gives me 6 there. So we'll do a rough line, very rough line. Tape. Oh, what I should be able to do. Battery went flat, so you guys get to miss the excitement of me trimming these down a little bit. But I mean, that's more than enough to sit on. More than enough. It'll give me a plenty comfortable seat. That doesn't weigh anything. Keep my arse dry and warm. All I've got to do is work out a way to stick them together. I haven't got any 2-pack glue or anything like that. I haven't got any spray adhesive. Anything I've got is super glue. So for the time being, that'll have to go to the side. I think I can even modify one of them and wrap it up in that too. So yeah, that can quite easily be trimmed down to fit in there. This is also in there like that. So this is the fun part. So getting the sleeping bag on the bottom. We'll set these up so that it's got everything on the bottom of the bag that I'm going to want to add or going to want to have on there at any given time. So first of all, we've got a kit map or bottom protector. And then poncho. And then you just give them a good old tug. So they're sitting flush and neat. So we've got a good 10 inches spare. Bloody cameras with their ridiculously narrow fields of view. I haven't got this zoomed in or anything, have I? Nope. We've got a good spare 10 inches there. You probably can't see that. So we'll chop some of that off. We'll cut it in half. We'll cut it down to about here. We'll keep that for another project. And then defray the ends. We'll give this a bash. It makes the bag awfully tall, twice as tall. still pretty comfortable. And you can see it comes right way down low. I don't know how much this weighs, this bag. This has got pretty much what I take out of me every time I take out, minus this and this full of water. So there's an extra 2 or 3 maybe kilos to go in here. As the guests say, this weighs about 8 or 9 kilos as it stands. Mrs. got a scale in there, we'll check it in a minute. But objective completed. Poncho goes on quite nicely. Sleep mat goes on quite nicely. And the bottom mat, the chair, and the sleeping bag goes on quite nicely too. I suppose if I add this cover to this, I don't really need to worry about gluing the bits and pieces together, because this will hold it. Now, Mrs. has got a sewing machine, and I might dig that out and see if it will sew this. Last time I used it, it just would not work no matter what I do. So we'll give it a bash anyway, see if we can get this sewed up, then that's the whole project all done in one go then. The seat is all sewed up. All I need to do is put a hole through it. I'm going to put a piece of string through with a loop here, a carabiner on the end, so that I can hook it on so that it won't blow away when I stand up on a blowy windy day. And also so that I can fold it in half and use the string and the carabiner to turn it into a slightly bigger pillow, even though it's slightly smaller. We'll see what I mean when I'm finished. And there you go, one slightly more comfortable pillow. It just doubles as a seat and a pillow.